There are other excuses that Muslims give for not reading the glorious Quran, for not reading the glorious Quran with understanding. Many of the Muslims, they say that the glorious Quran, it is only meant to be read with understanding by the alims, by the scholars. I started my talk with the quotation from the glorious Quran from Surah Al-Qamar, chapter number 54, verse number 17, 22, 32 and 40. وَلَقَدْ يَسَّرْنَا الْقُرْآنَ لِلذِّكْرِ فَهَلْ مِن مُدَّكِرٍ. And we have revealed, and we have made the Quran easy to understand and remember. Then is there any that will receive admonition? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in this verse of the glorious Quran, He's saying that He has made the Quran easy to understand and to remember. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also says in the glorious Quran, Surah Al-Baqarah, chapter number 2, verse number 242, that so that men will receive admonition, so that men will understand. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also says in the glorious Quran in Surah Al-Hijr, chapter number 15, verse number 1, Alif Lam Ra, Tilka ayatul kitab wa Quran mubin. This is the book, these are the verses of the Quran that make things clear to you. So when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made the Quran easy to understand and remember, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made things clear in the glorious Quran, will you follow the message of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or will you follow these people who say that the glorious Quran is only meant for the scholars and the alims to be read with understanding? But naturally you will follow the message of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So a person should read the glorious Quran with understanding. And if you do not understand certain things in the glorious Quran, what should you do? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the glorious Quran in Surah Al-Nahl, chapter number 16, verse number 43, فَاسْأَلُوا أَهْلَ الذِّكْرِ إِن كُنْتُمْ لَا تَعْلَمُونَ. That if you do not know, ask the person who knows. So if you do not understand any verse of the glorious Quran, you should ask the experts. For example, if the glorious Quran talks about medicine, who will you go to? Will you go to a cobbler? Will you go to a barber? But naturally, no. You will go to a doctor who's an expert in the field of medicine. If the glorious Quran talks about science, if the glorious Quran talks about science, who will you go to? Naturally, you will go to a scientist who's an expert in the field of science. If the glorious Quran talks, and if you want to understand the sabab al-nuzul of a verse of the glorious Quran, who will you go to? You will go to an alim, to a scholar who has probably studied in Darul Uloom, or who has done bachelor's or master's in an Islamic university in Saudi Arabia. You will go to an expert, to a mufassir, in order to understand the sabab al-nuzul of a particular verse. So if we do not understand any verse of the glorious Quran, we should approach an expert and ask the expert regarding this verse of the glorious Quran. But we should read the glorious Quran with understanding in order to understand the message of our Creator, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So unfortunately, Muslims give several excuses for not reading the glorious Quran with understanding. So we should see to it that we understand the basic message of our Creator, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.